transform your business into a brand that truly shines? Well, you're in the right place. My name is Summer Vega, and I am thrilled to have you here. With over 25 years of experience from leading communications teams to building my business from scratch, I've seen it all: setbacks, success, and everything in between. And guess what? I'm here to spill the beans on what it truly takes to build and sustain a brilliant brand. So whether you're just starting out or looking to revamp your existing brand, you'll find golden nuggets of wisdom right here. We'll dive deep into strategies, mindset shifts, and nitty-gritty details that make brands extraordinary. Stick around, because Brilliant Brands Academy is where we believe that every entrepreneur has the potential to create something truly exceptional. And together, we'll turn that potential into reality. So hit the subscribe button and let's get started on this exciting journey to brand brilliance. Today's episode topic comes on the brinks of me returning here in Atlanta from Washington, D.C., where I attended a training. It was a 2-day training at the United States Department of Education. In this training, on the first day, I would say for just about 15 minutes, we really dove into the different theories of communication or spreading information. Really, it's theories of spreading information. And those different theories are communication theory, diffusion theory, and dissemination theory. So now these three terms may sound very academic, but trust me, they are essential in understanding how messages are shared, adapted, and acted upon. Now you might think, why in the world would you be learning about something like this at the United States Department of Education? Well, let's think about it. Every organization, every entity, every company, whether you're a for-profit, nonprofit, or government, you have information that you need to share with your target audience. Now, in the case of the United States Department of Education, the individuals in the room were individuals that represented academia. They represented organizations that had something to give to the masses in regards to education. I went to this particular training because my client asked me to represent them here at the training, and that client specifically is working on a project that is helping school districts here in Atlanta, Georgia, as well as in New York City. So while there, we really met to talk about these different theories of spreading a message. What are the pros and why would you use one theory over the other, or how the theories naturally work in society, and then of course how we would specifically implement them in our specific projects. So in essence, I was there so that I could really dig into creating a dissemination plan. In this particular case, it was a dissemination plan specifically for my client as they're rolling out the work that they're doing, and most importantly, sharing the findings from their research and how their work is helping school districts. Okay, so there's some background on why I was even there, because it's like, how in the world does the United States Department of Education have to do with all of this? Well, hey, branding encompasses everything. Everybody needs branding, whether it's personal, anything. Everyone needs branding. So these theories, in essence, can work for your business and for your cause. So whether you're promoting a product, spreading a community initiative, or launching a campaign, understanding these theories can make a huge difference between success and silence. I mean, how many campaigns that we know of or don't know of, quite honestly, were rolled out, or even our own campaigns that we've done were rolled out, or we've heard so much buzz around it. But then how many have been rolled out where we heard absolutely nothing? It just didn't resonate with anybody. It just stayed silent. Well, today we'll break these theories down with real world examples. You know, I love to give you some examples. I love to give you practical tips. And of course, some data to back it all up. All right, so let's get started with a scenario. Imagine you're tasked with introducing a new cycling program in your city. You need to inform residents, get them to participate, and then eventually make cycling a part of their everyday lives. To achieve this, you'll need to communicate what it is effectively. You'll need to disseminate the information strategically, and you'll have to ensure the idea spread or diffuses organically. Sound familiar? It's the same process behind countless public awareness campaigns. Today, we'll use the example of a seatbelt adoption in the United States. Believe it or not, there was a time when most people did not wear seatbelts, even though they were proven to save lives. In fact, I have memories of my personal life when I was a child. I mean, I don't know, I'm Gen X. So I remember a time as a child when seatbelts weren't really a big thing. I've even rode in the middle console of cars. I remember just, it was like my little special seat in the middle console of a car. And dare I say, my family's from the country. So I've even rode with my cousins in the back of a pickup truck. But now, as soon as I get in the car, and quite honestly, even the drivers back then that had me in the car, in the back of the pickup truck or in the middle console, nowadays, none of us would dare drive without a seatbelt. Think about that. Through the right application of communication, through dissemination, and then diffusion strategies, seatbelts has become a culturally norm. We all do it. So let's unpack how these concepts made transformation, real transformation possible. I mean, our kids today probably don't even know of a time when we, as responsible parents, would have them come into the car without a seatbelt on. So first up is communications theory. At its core, communication theory is about how messages are created, how they're delivered, and how they're received. Think of it as the science of getting your message across and making sure it's understood the way that you intended it to be understood. Communication theory actually is something that most of us are doing and are very familiar with, because we all are hearing about communication strategy. We hear about social media. We hear about press releases. These are all those communication norms that we hear of. But one key framework with communication is one called the Shannon-Weaver model, which breaks down communication into steps. A sender creates a message, sends it through a medium, and the receiver interprets the message. So there's noise, anything from misinformation to distractions, all of these things can disrupt this entire process. I know, for example, my husband being the fitness trainer and the nutrition coach, certified nutrition coach, he's a certified supplement coach. And I can tell you firsthand, when I am home, I see him studying, I'm telling you, thick books about nutrition and thick books about supplementation and the human body. And even with all the information that he knows, that he has studied himself as the expert, he is still met with the complications of being in this field because there's too much noise. There's too many theories out there. There are people who may lose weight and all of a sudden they think they know all of the right information. They don't know the science though. My husband does, as the one who literally studies and has read and taken countless tests and assessments and all the things, no matter how much he may know and communicate to his clients or to his target audience, there's a lot of noise about what works and what doesn't work, whether it be keto, paleo, being a vegan, being, I heard someone talking about they're carnivores, so they eat fruit. So meat and fruit. I mean, there's so many things. Don't eat carbs. Eat the carbs. So much noise out there that when he's given his information and communicating with others, it's like It's that two way where he's sending the message and he's sending it maybe through social media. And then the receivers are able to interpret that message and say and think however they want. I mean, we see it all the time on social media. People giving their input on things that they have really no data backing, nothing to back it up. So another example is a poorly designed billboard. So take it out of the digital realm, put it on a billboard. A poorly designed billboard about seatbelts, going back to that seatbelt example. If a billboard is designed about seatbelts and it ends up confusing people rather than inspiring them to buckle up, right? So that's the way, I'm taking that original example and showing you how the method of communication may or may not give the message that you want, or may not be interpreted the way that you want it to be interpreted. All right. And that can happen in anything, whether it's in nutrition, whatever, or say it's in like the seatbelt example. In the 1980s, communication campaigns about seatbelt safety focused on clear, emotional, resonant messages. Ads like click it or ticket. I don't know if you remember that. I remember that. Click it or ticket. In fact, fun fact, one of my colleagues, he actually rolled out the click it or ticket campaign here in Georgia. So fun fact, and I actually did some graphic design for him as well for other campaigns. But anyway, this message made it very simple and memorable. So while others show the real life impact of seatbelt use through their personal stories, that click it or ticket campaign really did resonate with others. It stuck with us. But communications isn't just about sending the message or sending the information forward. It's also about ensuring that there is actually feedback in the loop. For example, when early campaigns showed little effect, the feedback from focus groups helped refine the message to be more relatable and direct. So that's where no matter how many times you put out the messaging about the safety of seatbelts, it never really connected with others. Even the real life examples didn't even connect with others. And they found that out, obviously, through focus groups, which is a great way to get real life feedback from individuals before you even roll out your campaign. Studies show that campaigns with a strong emotional appeal can increase audience engagement by up to 50%, according to the Journal of Communications. That's why effective communications is both an art and it's a science. So to improve your communication, you have to think about your audience. And every podcast I'm talking about your audience, but that's who you're talking to. Come on. These are the people that you want to take action. So to improve communications, you have to be sure you think about your audience. If you have listened to my podcast, previous episodes are all embedded with the same thing. Your target audience is important. They are your most valuable player because you are speaking to them so that they take action on whatever it is that you are pitching, that you are selling, that you are providing, if it's a service, if it's a product, if it's a cause, whatever it is, your target audience needs to be at the forefront of your mind. You got to ask yourself, what do they value? And then also ask what barriers might even prevent them from acting on your message. So tailoring your message to your audience is very, very important. But I do admit it is actually only half the battle. And this is where we're going to talk about dissemination theory. This is where strategy actually comes into play. Dissemination is about systematically delivering information to specific audiences using the most effective channels. All right, now think back again to the seatbelt adoption idea. In the 1990s, dissemination efforts went beyond TV commercials. Schools actually taught kids about seatbelt safety. Police departments distributed materials at community events, and employers ran workplace safety programs. Each of these efforts were carefully targeted to reach different groups with the same core message. So you see, that's where the collateral and the visual are kind of just tools. But in order to disseminate this valuable, fact-driven information into the community, they had to think outside the box and do these things, go where the people are, and speak to these audiences specifically the way that they would receive the information and really take it to heart and act upon it. In one state, in fact, public safety officials distributed free car stickers and brochures at the DMV, where drivers were most likely to encounter the message right before getting on the road. Statistically, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, widespread dissemination efforts in the 1990s increased seatbelt use from, listen to this, from 58% in 1994 to 73% by 2000. And I remember when I got my driver's license, as soon as I turned 16, I didn't wait, y'all. I got my I don't know, the kids today seem to want to wait, but I know where I was I grew up in the DC metro area. It was the thing you did on your birthday. And I remember on my birthday getting my driver's license, and I remember learning that the first thing you need to do is put on your seatbelt. That if you do not put on your seatbelt, you will fail the test automatically. It still holds true today. But I remember that being drilled inside of us. So definitely, I could see how the seatbelt usage increased from 58% to 73% in just a matter of 6 years. That's amazing. So if you're designing a dissemination strategy, start by asking this question. Where does your audience usually spend their time? For example, social media might work for younger audiences, but in-person events and community flyers could be better for the older demographic. There's some people that just aren't on social. Y'all, my mom does not have a social media account at all. Like, she's not even what do they call them? Trolls. The trolls are the ones who have a social media account, but they don't post on it. They just want to troll everybody else. That's what my son, my 16-year-old calls it. They troll everybody else's account, looks at everybody else's account, and gives their comments on those, but they don't have their own. My mom don't even have that. She is not on social media at all. But somehow she knows what's going on in the world. She knows what's going on in her community. She has an idea of, she's not missing a beat at all because she's an older demographic, not on social media. And her messaging that she's getting is getting to her through other means. All right. Now, let's dive into the final theory of our topic, and that's diffusion theory. Diffusion is about how ideas or innovations spread over time. It's less about that top-down messaging and more about the organic process of adoption across social networks. Everett Rogers' diffusion of innovations theory categorizes adopters into 5 categories or 5 groups. Those are innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. Each group has unique needs and motivations. For example, when seatbelts were first introduced, innovators, safety enthusiasts, and tech-savvy consumers were the very first people to adopt them. Early adopters followed as public campaigns and testimonials highlighted the benefits. Over time, laws required seatbelt usage to push the majority to comply, and social norms cemented the behavior. Wearing a seatbelt is cemented in our daily lives. Today, over 90% of Americans now wear seatbelts, up from just 14% in 1983 This shift happened because the diffusion process, right? That organic spread of the importance of seatbelts, or just the organic spread that this is just what you do. You wear a seatbelt when you go in the car. It organically spread. This diffusion process targeted different groups at the right time using the right incentives like laws, fines, and peer influence. So let's take it to you. If you're trying to spread an innovative idea, okay, identify your influencers. Who are the people who will most likely adopt or advocate for it? These early adopters can help create a ripple effect that drives wider adoption. We like to call these people, I like to call them when I'm breaking down audiences, the champions, all right? These people are the champions of your cause, the champions of your service. They're the ones that are going to spread the word for you. Those people are highly important, okay? Highly important individuals when spreading the word. All right, let's quickly recap the differences again. Communications theory is about interaction and feedback, where you're crafting and sharing messages that resonate. You're sharing a message and you're receiving feedback in return. It can get noisy, but it's where it's more of like that two-way communication, that two-way messaging, right? From the one giving it and from the one receiving it. Dissemination theory is about systemic, targeted distribution of information. That's where you've got your information, but you really start to go where your audience is. You start to do things, stepping out of the box. Where's your audience meeting? And are those meeting places in relationship to your business? Do they complement your business in some way? It's where you're really strategically making sure your message is getting in front of them, not just from the screen, but from interactions one-on-one. That's dissemination theory. Just kind of getting it into their forefront everywhere. It's the buzz. You see flyers, you see billboards, you see social media. You go to meetings about it. It's everywhere, all right? And then diffusion is about how an idea spreads naturally over time from one group to the next, just organically. My children have not been in the car without a seatbelt, okay? Because organically, it is my ideal about seatbelts was communicated to them just organically, because that's what we do. And in every household, every family, that it's the norm right now because it's been diffused. It's diffusion. It's out there. All right. Now let's bring it all together. The success of seatbelt campaigns is perfect as a case study. Communication theory helped shape messages that were clear and emotionally compelling. Dissemination theory ensured that those messages reached people where they lived, where they worked, and where they learned. And diffusion theory explained how seatbelt use became a cultural norm, starting with the innovators, like the champions that I talked about, and spreading, thoroughly diffusing throughout society. Thanks to these efforts, seatbelts have saved over 375,000 lives in the United States since 1975. That's the power of combining these three messages. It literally changed societal norms from my parents' generations, who are the baby boomers, all the way to today, where the little babies, I believe, are the alpha generation. I believe that's what they're calling them. My 16-year-old is Gen Z, so at least I know that, but all the way down to the babies. So what's the takeaway? If you want to influence behavior, whether it's adopting a product, supporting a cause, or following a new habit, you need to approach it from multiple angles. Start with communication, craft a message that resonates, then plan your dissemination. Get that message in front of the right people. And then finally, encourage that diffusion. Focus on building momentum and adoption over time. All right? That's it, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Brilliant Brands Academy podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with a friend and a colleague who could benefit. And then I really do want to hear back from you. If you just have a moment in your day and you feel like these episodes or a specific episode has been really beneficial to you, please take the time to comment below, because I want to know if this is helping. And I want this to just grow and get better, because my heart has always been to give you information that you can use to build your brand. All right? And don't forget to subscribe so that you are the first to get more episodes that are packed with actionable insights. Until next time, keep building brilliant strategies and making an impact. Take care.